Today, I want to take a look at a few Pokemon that in my eyes should be deserving of being called legendary Pokemon. As for how I'll be basing my choices, it'll be a mixture of my own opinions as well as overall breaking down the design choices made on certain Pokemon as well as their overall popularity. And to make the list fair, I'll exclude any pseudo-legendary Pokemon like Dragonite and Dragapult, as they would automatically be some of the ones that would be considered the top picks for legendary, but instead I'll be going with just your normal average Pokemon, or not really always average, but just basically Pokemon that don't have the pseudo-legendary status. So let's get started. First up is Altaria, and I think a lot of people would agree, as Altaria has an amazing design. A lot of people actually mistake it for a pseudo-legendary, which it actually isn't. But I just find that this Pokemon definitely could have been the one that controls the skies up and high, becoming some sort of guardian perhaps of the sky. It also is got a Mega Evolution, which in my mind just makes it even more majestic and just something out of the legendary camp of Pokemon, and I think it deserves that love and should be up there. Then we have Volcarona, a Pokemon which I actually thought was a legendary for the longest time when I was young and played Pokemon Black and White 2. Now its design just has this essence of legendary about it. The way it looks and the fact that it has this unique typing, being a bug fire type, which is not unique anymore but still was unique back then, just makes it even cooler. I'm honestly shocked that this beautiful Pokemon wasn't made into a legendary. I mean, it's even known as the Sun Pokemon, and on top of that, there's this old theory that it actually was planned to be a legendary Pokemon, but then it was changed to perhaps make it a pseudo-legendary, but even that fell through, and they kind of just ended up become like, they made it in this kind of strange pseudo-legendary Pokemon, and put it in this really strange place within the Pokemon hierarchy. Other than that, I don't really have much else to say about Volcarona, as I just think the design speaks for itself. It looks like a legendary Pokemon in my eyes, and I think it deserves the status of a legendary. Let's get to the next one. Zoroark. I mean, this Pokemon reminds me the most of something like Darkrai, which is why its overall style and feeling makes me think it deserves legendary. Also, Zoroark is generally just a cool looking Pokemon, and having the ability to transform into pretty much anything makes it quite unique amongst the likes of things like maybe like Ditto and such. It really is a unique Pokemon. It just feels like one of those Pokemon that would definitely have been there throughout human/Pokemon history and could have changed the path of things and influenced how things would have gone, but nobody would have known about it because it was transformed all along. It's not called the Trickster Pokemon for no reason, right? So I think it fits the theme, and I think it would fit as well as a Pokemon that could be legendary. Scizor is next, and I have my reason for this. Now, it may be in some people's opinions that Scizor is way too basic, but I find that it has this kind of majestic and warrior-like feeling to it, and I just think that would justify it being a legendary in my eyes. Now, some may make the argument, well, there are too many Scizors. However, that wouldn't be the case if it was legendary. I mean, we are getting a new legendary soon called Kubfu, and another one, its evolution, called Urshifu, and they have a pretty standard design, to be honest. I mean, I could imagine them just being your average Pokemon in the wild. So why wouldn't something like Scizor also be possible as a legendary? And it's also got a really badass design, so I think it fits well and it could definitely work in my eyes. Next up is Alisapod. I mean, where do I start with this one? It's got this bulky looking design, and the overall concept just speaks to me as a legendary Pokemon from like the ocean floor, right at the bottom down there. A creature that guarded the sea floor from any invaders. I think that's what Alisapod speaks to the most, and I think it fits well with that idea. And I definitely could imagine this being a Pokemon that just roams the ocean floor looking for its next prey, but also just guarding, maybe the ocean floor, just being this guardian down there. Either one could work in honest opinion, but I think it's a cool Pokemon that also deserves just generally more love. Agron. Okay, honestly, it is one of those behemoth looking Pokemon that are some of my favorite from each generation. The sort of Pokemon that really sticks out and looks cool. And it is said that this Pokemon basically roams around mountains, that it then makes its home and acts as if those places are its sort of little kingdom. And it will fight off any Agron or Pokemon that try to approach their mountain. That to me personally sounds super cool, and I don't see why that wouldn't be a fit way for a legendary Pokemon to behave. I mean, we have literally seen other actual legendary Pokemon doing the exact same thing by defending a mountain. I mean, as an example, take Zapdos, Articuno, Moltres, etc., right? They're guarding these mountains, they're in these caves. Take, Groudon and Kyogre. They're also down there in their little caves hiding. So why wouldn't a Pokemon like Agron that literally takes over a whole mountain, just casually takes it, why wouldn't that be a Pokemon that's also deserving of the title of a legendary? Lucario. So yeah, the super popular Lucario is definitely one of my top picks for a Pokemon that deserves some sort of legendary goodness. It's been around for quite some time, let's be honest, and it is a Pokemon that is by many considered one of the best of all time, so why wouldn't it be fit to be more than that? Be a legendary? I mean, its origin is Anubis, a literal Egyptian god, so why not make it a legendary? It just fits the theme perfectly. It's a Pokemon that just fits in there. It's like perfectly injected into that scenario. I could definitely see it working. Greninja. So yes, I know this one might be a bit too much. It's already the most popular Pokemon and the #1 most voted favorite Pokemon in 2020, but I still think Greninja deserves so much love because it has earned it, right? Being one of Ash Ketchum's most beloved Pokemon and also making such a huge impact in both the video games, the competitive part of the Pokemon, as well as the anime in general, it really brings it all together as a Pokemon that deserves a pretty high standing. I mean, it's literally already got a pretty legendary status within the community as a hyper popular Pokemon. It's pretty much the Charizard of our current times, right? Remember how popular Charizard was always before Greninja was introduced? It was always the #1 pick. It was always the #1 most favorite voted, but now Greninja's taken that top spot. And that's where I feel like it kind of earns that right to be maybe considered a legendary, but again, maybe a bit too much. Let's go to the next one. Absol. Again, this is one of those Pokemon that I always, as a young kid, thought was a legendary. Yeah, whenever I saw it, I assumed it was legendary because of its great looking design. The fact that it doesn't have any sort of evolution or pre-evolution. It's just one of those cool looking Pokemon that doesn't fit in with the rest of the stuff around it. It just doesn't seem like it's meant to be like your average normal ass Pokemon, right? It just doesn't look that bog standard. And on top of that, seeing it in the intro to Generation 3's anime made me love it even more and also made me assume it was a legendary even further. So I think it's a Pokemon that deserves that title of a legendary. Magmortar. Okay. This has to be arguably one of the coolest Pokemon ever. It has an epic design and is literally a Mortar Pokemon. And all of this just tells me that it could definitely fit as some sort of fiery war legendary of some kind, you know what I mean? Or something like that. A Pokemon that will basically appear at times of war to cause havoc with its massive fire. Electivire, the counterpart to Magmortar, of course has to be on this list as well. A Pokemon that I think definitely contends with Zapdos for the title of Thunder Legendary, if it could be a legendary, that is. And with its bulky design, I could just imagine this Pokemon being in this sort of legendary battle with Magmortar to see who is the better Pokemon. It would honestly be epic in my mind, just seeing the two of them clash as they are the kind of opposites to each other, not counting Rhyperior, let's put that on the sideline. But yeah, I just think it would be a cool Pokemon and definitely deserves the legendary title in my opinion. Arcanine. So this is a Pokemon that a lot of people have theorized and speculated was actually meant to be a legendary in the past. As we've seen from one of the tablet drawings in the first season of the Pokemon anime, it could have been meant to be a legendary at first but was cancelled over time. However, I find that this Pokemon that still fits to be legendary. I mean, it was planned to be one, and you can see it in its design. It has a posture and the blaze about it that really makes me want to imagine how different things would have been if it actually had became a legendary. It could have contended with something like Entei, which is also a theory that people have put forward that perhaps Entei was based on the scrapped ID of legendary Arcanine. Just some food for thought there. But yeah, definitely a Pokemon in my mind that fits the whole theme of a legendary, and I mean, it was maybe planned to be, according to the theory, planned to be one, so why wouldn't it still fit to be a legendary today? But yeah. So that is the list, and I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know the Pokemon that you think deserve to get legendary by commenting it down below in the comment section. Also, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell for more future Pokemon content such as this, and of course, much more. And again, a big thank you to you guys for enjoying these videos, for watching them, and for supporting me, of course, with this channel and the recent content I've been making. It really, really is appreciated, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day, and bye-bye, ladies and gentlemen.